Hello and welcome everyone to North Carolina for the second round of the iRacing Israel League Season 3. Tonight, 29 drivers are going to battle it out around the 3.6 kilometer Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval in the Porsche GT3 Cup car. Season 2 champion Alon Day is top of the standings after round 1 at Le Mans, but with 11 rounds still to go, he still has his work cut out for him if he wants to be a two-time champion. Welcome again everyone, Dane Bear here, joined by Adam Barth in the commentary booth. Adam, welcome along to the second round here at Charlotte.
Oh yeah, it's been 2 weeks since we began the season at Le Mans, the Circuit de la Sarthe, and now we head to a more confined space here at Charlotte Road, and it's the configuration, at which I'm sure many of the drivers are pleased to hear, that doesn't have the very dangerous bus stop chicane midway around the lap, where pretty much if you go offline by a fraction, you'll hit those enormous curbs and your race will be over. So even with that out of the way, it's still a very challenging lap, and it's got a very tricky chicane right at the end, which we could see a few incidents at when the race gets underway soon, because you'll be getting a very good run through those banked corners and you'll want to be trying to get past the drivers in front. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen today as the drivers take part in now what is set to be a very short qualifying session.
Absolutely. They're supposed to have 2 laps of qualifying, but it seems there's been a little bit of an error being made in setting up the session. So they've only had 1, which is not ideal because it's very easy to get an off track here. Maybe even a little bit of a tap against the wall, a 0x that's going to invalidate your lap time. And it looks like a lot of drivers have been caught out by that as the 5-minute qualifying session ticks away. We are at 5 minutes now. Everyone has attempted to set a time. And we're going to get the grid up on the screen now for a 24-lap race, 35 minutes, whichever comes first. And here is the grid then. Alon Day in pole position with Shalva in second. Oren Sade will take third. Amir Meshalam in fourth. Michael Sherling in fifth. We've got Ori Lahav, Ron Cohen, Dekel Nar, Madi Bakar. Then we've got Michael Symon, Saad Dekel, Nirkop Mizrahi in the 12th position. Then in 13th, we've got Arik Alster. Yehuda Ben Yosef will start 14th. Aidan Sher will start in 15th with Monturiano in 16th. Leon Portman in 17th. Willy Zer in 18th. Moshe Pinchevsky will start 19th. Dor Malka in 20th. Then we've got Yossi Gabai in 21st. Haggai Farron and Peter Green have not set a lap time. And then we've got John Chico, who is starting from the pit lane because of a penalty he received from a bit of an incident he had back at Le Mans 2 weeks ago. So that's going to be interesting. Standing starts, as is the normal in this series. Last season we had rolling starts. That's going to be interesting to see how they do. There's the back of the grid. Then Aaron Zeltzer in 25th. He's also got a penalty. Ariel DeBouche, Gil Epstein, Toma Ventura, and Ido Isaac not setting a time. They will all be gridding up though, as we are pretty much ready to race. Just a few cars, and you can see there in the bottom of that shot that we've got drivers starting the race inside the final chicane, so that's going to be interesting to look at.
Yeah, I remember having that sort of situation in one of the week 13 races I did at this circuit, which means you've got to watch out for anybody that's on your inside before you crank the wheel to the left to go through the final part of that chicane. So the crowd will be, and us ourselves will be looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. And this first corner on a rolling start, it's pretty chaotic. Whenever I've watched any of the NASCAR races here, these guys will be on cold tyres, and we know from experience with the rolling starts on the short circuits with not a very long pace lap, the likes of Alon Day and Shalva at the front, they can get caught out. So watch out for that, as here come the lights.
Absolutely, Alon Day made a bit of a spin in a couple of rounds last season, but here are the lights. The revs are rising. And we go green at Charlotte. It's a decent start from Alon Day. Shalva's also got a good one. They're not going to be challenging too much for the lead. It's a short run down into turn 1. Side by side for third, fourth. And they seem to have sorted themselves out. There's a bit of an incident. It looks like further back down the field. A lot of drivers dropping down in the order. And that is Haggai Farron, as he's spun, almost entered the pits backwards. Michael Symon in the 420 car. There's a big pile up here out of turn number 2, and they're still piling up here. The number 10 into the number 24, Yehuda Ben Yosef, that was still contact being made as they come around turns 3 and 4. High up over the curbs is the number 99 of, I think that's Yehuda Ben Yosef, and that's a massive incident to start off this race.
Yeah, not what we wanted to see at all, and it looked like it just carried on going really. Quite a lot of separate incidents all unfolding, and it's still cool. It still could continue here between Sardeckel and Peter Green. The big beneficiary, well, that was this guy, Gil Epstein, but it looks like he might have had to battle his way through the wrecks to get up there as the front end of that Porsche, that aqua-coloured Porsche, is pretty much bashed in. But here's one guy who's had a perfect start to the race so far, and it's Alon Dane, and he and Shalva, they've already escaped into a bit of a comfortable advantage as they get on the brakes into the final chicane for the first time.
Absolutely, those really high curbs, the blue ones, turtle curbs, as they are affectionately known. As Alan Day sets a 1:23, it's about 4 seconds slower than his qualifying lap. These two have got away pretty well. They've got a fairly decent gap to Orange Sade, who's in third, and then Meshlam is right on the back of Sade, so that's going to be a battle to look out for. And it looks like Ron Cohen has either pitted for repairs or he's had a bit of a moment.
Well, yeah, he could have. I think he has, you know, because it says he has just come back on the track. So let's have a quick look at a replay of what happened to him. Oh, he's around. Now, this is off the exit, or the entry into the bus stop chicane. Into the final chicane. Here it is again. This is the beginning of it. Stars and stripes.
Is there contact? I saw a car going slowly as well. Yes, there is. He just comes across. Not sure who that was in the car just behind him. But he comes across, and that is unfortunate for him. Here's Yossi Goodbye making a move up the inside. No, he doesn't. He thinks the better of it. He's got a bit of damage as well. Must have been caught up in one of the incidents. New damage model on these cars since the update 4 weeks ago. And we've been given a lovely display of it here. Here's Michael Symon. Here's a replay from the start. Coming around turn number 2. Oh, and the number 12 has just lost it right in front of him. He had absolutely nowhere to go, and that's just caused a massive chain reaction of drivers trying to get past, and a bit of an unsafe rejoin from the number 10 as well, but not what we want to see at the start of the race.
Yeah, and it looked like everybody just ended up scattering after that, which is a shame, but you can see who's gained the most positions out of all of that as we go through the infield. And Shalva, last time around, first proper representative lap times now that the race has got underway, was fractionally slower than Alonde, but on this third lap, it looks like he's starting to put a little bit of pressure on the NASCAR Euro Whelen Series driver as they come back out onto the banking. One thing we will see is, as you mentioned before we came on air, Dane, today, is that we are going to see the drivers use quite a lot of the apron in some places, and on the exit of this bus stop chicane we're coming into, they're going to be using quite a lot of the runoff area too.
Absolutely, there's a lot of this painted tarmac that you can see on the left hand side. They're about to go over it, and you can see they cut a lot of that, not paying respect at all to the blue and white painted stripes that separate the banked oval from the infield. But Shalva, it's a bit of a tricky one here. You get a lovely toe in the oval, but once you're on the infield, it takes away all of your downforce. These cars, unlike the GT4s from last season, they do produce quite a bit of downforce, but the gap is just about a car length as they come through turn 1. Shalva right on the back of Aronde, trying to pile on the pressure, and this is going to be a really interesting one. 3 laps in, starting lap 4 of 24 in this race at Charlotte, and I think we're going to have a lovely battle for the lead.
Yeah, this is something that we've been looking forward to for quite a while. So we were hinted at it last season, but there was always something that would stand in the way, whether it be Alon Day getting involved in a spin or a crash with somebody. But here they are, and we're set to have another 20 laps of this, or half an hour, depending on what happens first. And a fantastic duel between these guys. There's a nice scrap going on a little bit further back. It's involving these two, Madi Bakar, Michael Symon, and Ori Lahav. A couple of attempts of a second between these guys, and these are all drivers that are trying to carry on their race after what happened earlier on at the start.
Absolutely, Michael Symon running in 10th position in that beautiful pig-inspired livery of the old RSR from Le Mans back in the day, and he's almost getting inside the safer barrier on the outside there as they come in towards the bus stop. Massive amount of curb being used by Madi Bakar in the 9th position. Huge amount of curb being taken there. You can do that, you won't get an off track, might slow you down a little bit, and also with the new damage model, you never know, you might get a bit of floor damage, so you don't really want to be doing that too much. You can see just up ahead, massive gap behind Amir Meshlam and fourth from Michael Sherling. It's about 20 seconds. Here's a little bit of a gap. Haggai Farron much further down the field than where he would want to be, and he is having a little bit of a battle with Peter Green.
Yeah, Haggai Farron was spun around at this very corner first, turn 1. Went into the concrete wall on the inside and has managed to carry on, but he is down in 15th place. And has amazingly managed to gain 7 places since the start. I wonder if that spin at the first corner was a bit of a blessing in disguise for him, because then he managed to avoid all of the chaos that was going on a little bit further up the road. But yeah, good scrap there as we go back to the front. And Alon Day, oh, he could be under pressure.
Alon Day, they're side by side almost as they come out of the bus stop, but this is probably the best opportunity Shalva's going to have so far. At the end of lap 5, he's getting in that draft. This is a very tricky braking zone. You have to brake pretty much now as they get onto the brakes. Big bump from Shalva. He's up all over the grass and almost a punt. He's so close to the rear of Alon Day as they come across the line to start lap number 6. Is Shalva going to make a move down the inside into turn 1? Yes, he is. Bit of a lock-up, and he has to bail out of that one. Alon Day giving him no space at all, and this battle will continue. Shalva was doing a lot of official races in the last few weeks. He's really trying to get to grips with this car, and he's been doing pretty well. Here's Eric Alster. Something happened to him.
Looks like it. A whole lot of cars were listed as having crashed at the this chicane. Oh yeah, oh well.
Whoa.
It's the first apex. Maddie Bacard, Deconan and Dor Malco have also been involved in something, but oh yeah, I think that was on in the background there. Yeah, somebody went wide, but issues for all of those guys. And Eric Alster now trying to get back by Maddie Bacard though. He's now trying to apply some pressure on Yossi Gabai, and just a little bit further up the road, I think Michael Symon has just got by Deconan. So there's overtakes going on all over the place here, though.
Absolutely, and another one to look at is the battle for third. Oren Sade and Amin Meshlam, just 3 tenths separating them. I think Meshlam was right up against the rear of Oren Sade as they came in towards the bus stop, but he obviously had to bail. Here is Amin Meshlam then using all of that runoff before coming up onto the banking. In some of the higher downforce cars, you can get away with staying on the apron the whole time. As Peter Green is into the pits, he is retired into the pit lane. He's had some serious issues as Peter Green. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened to him. He's towed back to the pit lane.
It might have involved Sardeckle. Oh, well, don't know if that was the remnants of something earlier. Oh well, into the back of him goes Sardeckle. And does he get hit by somebody after that? Oh yes, by the Stars.
Oh, that's a wheel gone.
Yeah, the Stars and Stripes car.
Oh, and he gets collected again by 2 more cars.
Oh dear. Maybe worth another angle from that, because we couldn't see too much from the side. Here it is from the reverse angle. This should give us a good angle of everybody going into him. Here we go. We should get a nice view here of cars trying to avoid him. Oh dear. There goes one. And the green car gets sandwiched by the 18. That was John Chico. And poor Peter Green looks like he's definitely come off the worst for wear from all of that.
Absolutely dropping down the order as he had to tow back to the pit lane. Meanwhile, this man, Michael Shirley, missing a rear wing from some damage. That's not going to help him out at all. This rear wing gives the cars pretty much all of their downforce. They don't have any extra winglets that you might see on a regular GT3 car. This isn't a GT3, despite what the name might suggest. It is modelled on the Porsche 911 GT3, which is very much a road-going car. That just happens to be the name of it. And they've made it into a cup car, and it provides some very close racing usually. Michael Shirley missing the rear wing of his, and Nirkot Mizrahi is definitely going to be having a look at that.
It's turn 2 though, we're on lap 8 now of 24, so we're already at 1/3 distance. And yeah, the loss of that rear wing may be helping Michael Shirley on the straights, but for this part of the circuit it might not be helping him too much, as Ron Cohen has had to come into the pits. And there's an interesting battle. Yeah, oh no.
Down the order, I think something might have happened between those two. That's at turn 3. Yes, turn 3. He's going to get a lovely old slowdown for cutting all through the gravel. Let's see what happens then. 49 car in front is Dekal Nar. Coming into the braking zone for turn number 3. Massive punt, and that is huge impact into the wall for both cars.
Unfortunately for him, I think there is a tyre barrier there. I don't think that's a wall he's hit, so he should be okay. But Yeah, that was a big one. Missed his breaker point by a mile, and I think Shalva has taken the lead and spun.
What's happened to Alon Day?
He's also off.
Oh, I think there's been contact. Alon Day's engine. Is it his engine? I think he might have engine problems. There was a lot of smoke coming out there. Might have just been from some damage that he's huge damage. Huge problems for Alon Day. The former race leader, has he got... I think he's got massive problems with that right front. And that's not connected at all. Yossi goodbye with a spin at the final chicane. And the 666 car as well. But Alon Day, he has serious problems that he's trying to get that car sorted out. But I don't think he's going to be able to continue the 666 once again into the wall. But Alon Day looks to be out of this race.
Well. Let's have a look at what happened then. So, Shalva's going to get a fantastic run through this final chicane, Dane.
Absolutely. Alon Day made a mockery of that, and Alon Day just squeezes Shalva so much all over the curbs. Huge impact into the tyre barrier, and his front right tyre is absolutely disconnected. You can see there it's bobbling around. But Alon Day makes a mockery of that final chicane. Shalva goes to his inside. Huge press by Alon Day. Gets into the braking zone, and a bit of a nudge from Shalva sends him flying over that massive turtle curb. Shalva spins it around, takes the lead, and he's going to retain the lead. That's Amin Meshalam just behind him. There he is. Also having a little bit of a moment out of turn 2. Very sideways was Amir, but Dr. Pepper livery. But Shalva has taken the lead and Alon Day is out.
Well, they call that first corner heartburn turn after the sponsor that sponsors that first corner. And yeah, Alon Day, I think he might be needing some relief after that, because that was not what he would have wanted, as Amin Meshalam puts a lap on. That was Barrick Monteriano, I think. And wow, well, this has turned the race on its head, and all of these incidents, Dave, have meant that the field's really spread out now. I think the closest battle we've got on track is between Maddie Bakar and Haggai Farron, and that's over 7th and 8th. I think it's I think for the final 14 laps or so, it's just going to be about getting to the end, because as
just behind Meshalam.
Yeah, was that Barrick
in
again?
The wall. It was. No, yeah, it is. He's ended up in the wall on the outside there. Really struggling with this car, he is.
Doran Sade as well in 3rd place. He was also in strife for that chicane. I tell you, this is a very difficult track. It was really tough before they redid it. When I first got iRacing, the original Charlotte Roval was part of the base content, and that was really difficult in the Mazda MX-5s. And even though they've redone it, this track is incredibly difficult to master.
Absolutely, there's lots of elevation change in the curbs on the 2 chicanes. Are absolutely huge, so it's a really tricky track to get a hold of. Some people love it. It's a bit like Marmite. Some people hate it, but it's really I love to drive the circuit. I love the new chicane as well. The old chicane was amazing, but a bit dangerous as well. Pretty much flat out in these cars, and if you get it ever so slightly wrong, you can hit one of those huge curbs and that would send you flying. But really interesting. That's Alon Day heading down into the pits. I think he's well and truly out. There is Dekal Nar down in 20th entering the pits. He's got quite a bit of damage on that. I think he's decided to come into the pit lane. I wonder if they get a faster lap. I don't think they do, but we'll have to wait and see if he can come back out and join us back out on the circuit. Maddie Bakar and Haggai Farron, the closest battle on the track. Haggai Farron is about 4 tenths behind, and he's going to be trying to make a move in the near future, I'm sure. Oh, a bit deep.
Yeah, Haggai just misses the wall as well on the exit. Doesn't want to lose any of the places that he's been able to gain here. 14 places. He got his incident out of the way early on and has been able to benefit from that ever since. And he's not the biggest mover in the field. It's still this guy, Gil Epstein, who, even with his front end damage, has been able to gain quite a lot of places. Just going back to that old bus stop chicane, Dane, I bet you were one of those drivers that you just knew that as long as you were consistent through there, you'd be able to pick off at least a place a lap. Because, well, this is from my experience. Everybody I was racing with just couldn't do that old chicane for love nor money.
Absolutely, I did a Mazda MX-5 league race over here. Had 3 races actually, 3 short sprint races, and I think that chicane caught out at least 5 drivers every single race. There was 3 positions for me.
There you go.
As Sardeco makes a bit of a mess over at turn 6. Just heading back onto the oval now. Went a little bit wide, managed to keep hold of it. Almost went down to the long layout of the Roval, which this was originally supposed to be held at, but I think the drivers all voted against it. As is Michael Sherling and Nikop Mizrahi in the yellow iRacing Israel League livery. It's a really nice looking livery actually. As I did a couple official races with him over the last week. He's also been doing officials and getting to grips with the car, and he is trying to capitalize on the broken car of Michael Sherling in front.
Matches his hoodie on his on the graphics near Cop's livery on his iRacing Israel League Porsche. That was unintentional. Problems for Moshi Pinchevsky and really Tsiur, who look like they've had crashes. Haggai Farron and Madi Bakar have also exchanged places. That's Haggai now 15 places into 7th. Let's have a look at what happened to Moshi Pinchevsky then. This is at the bus stop chicane. Moshi Pinchevsky in the Martini liveried Porsche. It's like after you here in the chicane. And oh no.
Oh, and who's that? Parked up on the exit as well, another driver. But yeah, a bit of undecision there.
Yeah,
both drivers being after you and neither driver taking it, and then they both took it and they both got turned around.
Eric Alster was that other car that was parked at the chicane.
Oh, there's a bit of a lock up there from Moshi Pinchevsky afterwards.
Amir Meshalem's in. Oh no, Amir Meshalem, who was in second place, is out of the race. I feel like we've been living in replay, but here's what's going to happen. Oh no, we just gone away from the. Oh no, yeah, I thought he was going to collide with Eric Alster then.
Oh, he's hit a massive bump on the exit of turn 1 and into both walls. Huge impact there, and that is dead set concrete that he has just hit. No tyre barrier there to protect him. Very unfortunate for him. He was doing so well up in second. Here's the onboard then into turn 1. Takes the curve, and there's a huge bump here. Right there, unsettles the car and can do absolutely nothing about it. The walls are so close that he was a passenger at that point.
Oh no, what a mess. Meanwhile, oh!
Whoa!
And Michael Sherling, that's the lack of rear downforce for you. Oh no, near Cop spun, and he's taken up Michael Symon with him.
Michael Symon also up a huge load of places, and near Cop Mizrahi getting a little bit loose and slamming into the side of Michael Symon. 2 huge incidents. Michael Symon, very unfortunate. Let's see, he probably had a very good view of that spin, and there is near Cop completely losing control, slamming into the side of Michael Symon. Looks like near Cop's actually got away with no damage.
Oh well, first of all, it looked like he'd been able to hold on to it near then, and then he just got another bit of oversteer and then slammed into the side of the all pink Porsche there, and it looks like he's been able to carry on. I hope this hasn't caused him a meatball flag or anything. And Haggai Farron, talk about survival of the fittest. He's now got a few more free positions. He's almost within touching distance of the podium. He's only 3/4 of a second away from near now.
Absolutely, there he is just ahead. He's actually only about 8/10 now, so. And he's also gained 18 positions, as has Gil Epstein. So they're both battling for that coveted award of the most positions gained. Both of them failing to set a lap time in qualifying, starting at the back of the grid. Both of them were involved in some incidents, and Nikop has ended up losing control out of the bus stop again. Somehow keeps that one out of the wall.
Very lucky there, and in fact he's probably got one of the most cleanest looking cars in the field. despite the contact with Michael Symon earlier.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of damage to that front hood, but other than that, his car is looking very sharp. I think Shalva is absolutely checked out with this one. Oh, his Nick almost ends up in that wall. Michael Sherling's right on the back of him now as well, despite not having a rear wing. But Shalva's just entering the bus stop, and the man in second position is nowhere to be seen. Where is Oren Sade actually?
Here he is.
There he is. Just entering the oval. So they're pretty much on opposite sides. You can see on the track map. Opposite sides of the circuit, Oren Sade and Shalva. Shalva's got a huge lead with about 8 laps to go.
And he's coming up on some back markers now, is Shalva. And he's got the lights flashing. He's coming up to lap Alon Zeltzer, who's lacking a rear wing, or a rear spoiler. And then after that is number 14, that's Dawn Malka. One of them gets out of the way straight away. Oh no! Careful!
Oh! Massive moment for Shalva. Super loose, almost fully sideways at that point. Great job he did to keep that one under control. As he's just on the back of another back marker, and he's going to go down the inside, almost takes out some cones there. And it has amazed me every single lap that I've seen Shalva get so close to that inside wall as he comes back onto the oval.
Oh, I don't take the risks here. He does, honestly. When I race at this track,
especially not when you've got a lead like he does.
No.
Oh, it looks like it's a bit deep from the lap driver behind. It is a bit deep. I thought he was about to slam into the back of Shalva.
Well, it shades of the Austrian Grand Prix at the weekend here. We've got 11 cars on the lead, just under a minute behind, 13 on the lead lap, and Shalva here has got a 21-second lead, heading on course for what could potentially be the biggest winning margin we've ever seen in the iRacing Israel League. As he goes into the first corner to start lap 18 of 24, just 4 laps to go when we get to the end of this one.
Absolutely. Oh, massive defense from Michael Sherling, and that is Manny Bakar hard into the wall, and Sherling's lost as well. They both come back together at the bus stop. Bakar almost getting stuck on that turtle curve, but we're going to have to get a replay of that. I think there was just a huge defense from Michael Sherling, who's just been overtaken by Michael Symon. Back up into 6th he goes, or he'll have up into 5th. But let's see what happened here with a replay. Manny Bakar gets a huge run on Michael Sherling, and then I think they both kind of wanted the same bit of road there, and they both get sent into the opposite walls, come back together at the bus stop. Somehow Manny doesn't get stuck on those blue curbs, because that's happened to me many times in testing, and they've both lost out on quite a few positions, and Manny Bakar's got huge damage here. Look at how hard he hits that wall. Wing mirror gone. We're used to seeing that in the iRacing Israel League.
Oh wow. I'd feel a bit aggrieved if I was Michael Sherling there. He defended right down to the apron, to the white line, and then Manny Bakar just wanted a bit more, and yeah, contact was made between the two of them. Amit Meshalem, who looks like he's got a brand new car, is on the comeback trail. He's up to 17th place now. He is a lap down, but yeah, he's just got a place back there off Decolnard. Next up is Yehuda Ben Yosef, who has got a very damaged car as well. So if Meshalem can carry on at the rate he's going, he should be able to get a few places back as Michael Sherling continues to lose a few more places. I think he's just trying to get to the end of the race, you know. Oh, Epstein! Into the wall again.
Oh no, and he was doing so well up so many positions. The front of his car is unrecognisable, and he spun it again, tyres overheating, as he was doing so well up so many positions, and that is seriously unfortunate. Has Haggai Farron had a little bit of an incident? I thought he was right close. Oh, and who's that? Yehuda Ben Yosef. Big spin for him. He's going to rejoin right onto the racing line. Luckily, there's no one in his about to slam into the side of him. He's lost a good amount of bodywork and a rear spoiler. Massive incident out of turn 6 there.
That's Eric Alston is off.
Yeah.
Here it is then. So there goes Amir Meshalem through. Then up the inside there's number 49 who gets through there. And then is he just going to... Oh, well there's the recovering car. There is the recovering Eric Alster. And you heard of Yosef arrives on the scene and then has to take evasive action, and unfortunately that's off and into the wall. Michael Sherling has come into the pits, so I reckon that is probably a meatball flag for him, which is a shame.
I
And
think they do have fast repairs, because Amir Meshalam has managed to get back on the circuit after that huge chunk that he had with a brand new looking car. Oh, that's
now,
Chico.
yeah,
John Chico in 7th position, now down into 8th, has spun it out of the bus stop. This has proved really difficult for these drivers here tonight. There's a Shalva's got 5.5 laps to go, and there's another one, a Skill Epstein again. And there's Shalva in the background. Shalva loses it under braking.
Oh!
Somehow manages to miss a wall. He's going to have to let these guys through. And he's lost a good chunk of his gap. There is still 26.5 seconds of that gap. As there's another car, the number 4, completely cutting the chicane. That's Ron Cohen in 12th. Come on, guys.
Just play it safe. Just go through. Take the slow down. Just get to the end. There's only 4 laps to go, and well, you'd almost think that someone's littered the track with oil or something. They're here, there, and everywhere.
Zeltzer and Malka there having a little bit of an exchange. Zeltzer obviously without a rear wing, as you can very obviously see. Lovely livery on that car, number 39, but he's got Malka just ahead of him. Bit of a lock up from Malka. Oh, he's lost at the same place that Amir Meshalam had, and that's allowed Zeltzer to close right onto the back as they head through turns 3 and 4. Really tricky, complex of corners, this one. You don't want to hit those blue curbs. You can run all the way out wide here, over the curb, over the blue line. Who's that in the 147 car? Is that...
That's the second place, man.
Oren Sade. So he's getting through these guys, lap traffic. And if he comes down the inside here, is he going to go for it? Yes, he is. Super close to the inside wall, but that's allowed Zeltzer to get past Malka, because Malka's been hugely compromised from that. And he drops down into 16th.
Now that we know that you can get a fast repair in this series, in this league, I'm surprised that many more drivers haven't taken that option, because many of them are soldiering on with damage that may be hindering their lap times or straight line speed, and not many have taken up that option. Madi Bakar has, so too Dekal Nar, Amir Meshalem as well, I believe. Yeah, there he is. So yeah, that is quite interesting. Anyway, we have got a couple of laps to go now, and here is our race leader Shalva, who, despite that spin earlier, has managed to almost get the gap back up to where it was before he spun. It's about 22 seconds between Shalva in P1 and Oren Sade in P2, and as Dane mentioned earlier, as Shalva tentatively gets past the 12 of Sardekel to make it only 9 cars on the lead lap now. They are on pretty much separate parts of the circuit. Second place is midway through the tight and twisty stuff of the infield. Shalva's now coming into the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, he lost it here a couple of laps ago. Locked the rears up. It's very easy to do here. It's a rear-engined car and very heavy as well. Unfortunately, that means it's very tricky under braking. These cars, unlike the traditional GT3 car or regular GT cars, they're not made for gentleman drivers. Normally you've got teams of drivers in GT cars with some paid drivers that maybe aren't of the same quality of driver as the pros, but not these cars. These cars are definitely made for the professional drivers, and they have almost no assists, no traction control to think of, and a very tricky beast to drive, as we've got Sardekel and Madi Bakar having a little bit of a battle here.
I did record the Porsche Super Cup from the Red Bull Ring at the weekend. I haven't watched it yet. I think these are the same cars they use there.
Yes, sir. The 991.2, which is a really awesome car to drive. I watched the Super Cup race. I saw a couple of liveries that rang a bell from the Porsche Esports Super Cup, and I almost thought I saw a Team Redline car in the race, which was a
Well,
bit of a shock to me.
I think the
But
less said about the Porsche Esports Super Cup race at the weekend, or the lack of a Porsche Esports Super Cup race at the weekend, the better probably. As Shalva puts another lap this time on Gil Epstein now, so there's only 8 cars now on the lead lap.
absolutely, Shalva using all of that AstroTurf on the outside there as he comes in towards the chicane. As he takes the white flag to start lap 24 of 24. He's just got to survive with a half a lap advantage over Oren Sade. 23 seconds he's got as he comes around turn 3 and now into turn 4. Really tricky complex of corners. And then probably the most difficult corner. Oh, there's a big off in the background. Someone's made a mock of the bus stop. I just saw that behind Shalva over the barriers. One of the good things about the Charlotte Roval is you can see quite a lot of it. You can see there, that other side of that barrier, that's just after turn 1. So you can see a lot of the circuit from wherever you are. As Shalva enters the oval, he's just got 2 more corners to go, the bus stop and then the final chicane. And he will take, I think this is going to be his first win in the iRacing Israel League.
What a time to get it, and I don't think none will be more earned than this, considering the rate of attrition we've had as well.
Absolutely, a dominant performance from him. Just 1 set of corners left to go for Shalva Kvitejvili in the 94 car, and Shalva Kvitejvili will take the checkered flag here in round number 2 of season 3 of the iRacing Israel League from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Oren Sade is set to take second. Hagai Farron is a good few seconds behind. He's also just got that final chicane to navigate before taking what might be his first podium finish of the iRacing Israel League. Very competent driver in Oren Sade, not being able to show that too much in this league. Hagai Farron is going to take 3rd position.
Who'd have thought that?
Starting right from the back, gaining, let's see, how many positions has he gained? 19. 19 positions Hagai Farron's gained from where he started. There's near Kop Mizrahi. Great finish from him, starting right near the back of the field. Ori Lahav will finish in 5th. Michael Symon, even after that first lap incident, is going to take 6th with... Oh dear!
I was Sherling into the back of him.
And there is Jossi Gabai in his bright green car. This time it's not the iRacing default one. He's got himself a lovely iRacing Israel League livery to show off his love for bright green cars. So we've got John Chico in 8th. Gil Epstein will take 9th, despite the fact that this Porsche no longer looks like a Porsche. And it looks like Alame Mechelin might have just taken 10th. So we'll get the race results up on the screen. Here they are then. Shalva with his first win of the iRacing Israel League by 25 seconds. That is an absolutely huge margin to Oren Sade in 2nd, Hagai Farron in 3rd, Nir Kop Mizrahi in 4th, Ori Lahav in 5th, Michael Symon somehow takes 6th. Yossi Gabai and John Chico are the last drivers to finish on the lead lap. We've got Gil Epstein somehow finishing the race in 9th. Amin Meshalam, after this big shunt halfway through the race into the walls after turn 1, he finishes in 10th. We've got Saad Dekel, Madi Bakar, Dekel Na, or Alon Zeltzer in 14th. Ron Cohen in 15th. Dor Malka in 16th. Moshi Pinchevsky takes 17th with Yehuda Ben Yosef in 18th. Aiden Sher, Michael Sherling will take 19th and 20th. And we've got Leon Portman. Eric Alster taking the first of the drivers with 2 laps behind Shalva at the end. Barak Monturiano in 23rd. We've got Really Tzer in 24th. Toma Ventura 4 laps down in 25th. And then Alon Day, after that contact with Shalva into turn number 1, flying into the barriers. 13 laps down. He didn't finish. Neither did Peter Green, down in 27th. And Ariel Debush finished 28th. Ido Isaac both of those drivers out on the first lap. So unfortunate for those two. Otherwise, it can't catch a break.
And poor Alon Day colliding with Shalva as well early on. So much happens after that, and plenty to talk about. I wonder if any of the drivers would be willing to come and speak to us. And I scroll down, and yes, they are. There are plenty of drivers waiting to come and speak to us. And I guess nowhere better to start than our race winner then, Dane. Let's get Shalva in for a quick word. I bet he's happy, and I bet he's relieved after first of all the contacts he had with Alon Day, and then the spin he had at the bus stop chicane.
Absolutely, it was a really dominant performance from him, and he joins us in the commentary box now. Shalva, congratulations. I believe that's your first win.
Thanks, guys. Yes, it is my first win.
It was an absolutely dominant performance. 25 seconds ahead of Oren Sade in second. And talk us through that race. You had a good battle with Alon Day until about halfway through. You had a little bit of a contact there.
Yeah, we were having a lot of fun fighting. I was right behind him, trying to find a gap. Um, I think it was lap 8 or 9 or 10 or something like that. And he made a mistake, a small mistake at the last chicane, and I tried to quickly take the inside for the first turn, but he quickly covered it, and I wasn't able to react in time. Like at the moment, I felt like he braked a little bit too early, and I didn't anticipate it, and therefore I hit him. But I'll need to review the replay, see exactly what happened there. Anyways, this is not really the way I wanted to win, of course. I didn't want to take him out. I really wanted to have the battle the whole way through, but it is what it is. These things happen, I guess. And from that point on, I was just pretty much sailing. I took the pace down like a second a lap. I took it down just to drive safely and get to the end.
We're just seeing on the broadcast there that incident with Alon. Alon went absolutely flying as he headed over the blue curbs there. Huge incident for him, and that ended his race. He had race-ending damage from it, despite hitting a tyre barrier. So unfortunate for him, but great for you, managing to finish 25 seconds ahead of the driver behind. Talk us through this then. I think we're about to see it on the broadcast, losing the rear end into the bus stop, having a bit of a jump over the curbs. A bit of a moment for you near the end of the race.
Yeah, like I said, I took the pace down to drive safely, but the thing is, when you take the pace down from your comfort zone, you just start to get complacent. You just lose your groove, and I was just lifting before the braking zones and just taking it easy just to save the tires in case I need them at the end of the race. And I just lost concentration completely. I don't know, my mind was somewhere else, and I just lost focus, locked up, and went flying. But luckily, I had a pretty big gap behind me, so I just took it easy from there. Just tried to stay focused.
Yeah, well, you managed to keep that one out of the wall, jumping over the blue turtle curbs. You're actually watching an incident involving Gil Epstein just ahead of you on track, and then we saw in the background, oh, Shalva's gone off. But yeah, that was a pretty interesting one. But other than that, you really was plain sailing for you. Congratulations on your first win, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time at Silverstone. Do you have much experience driving there?
Honestly, Silverstone is like one of my worst tracks, so I'm gonna start practicing like right now. I'm gonna try to make a redemption, try not to kill alone, and give him a good clean fight next time.
Well, good luck for that one. Thank you so much for joining us in the interview room. Congratulations on your first win. Hopefully, that will give you some confidence for 2 weeks' time at Silverstone. Thanks for joining us. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just the usual suspect, you guys, Amir, and everybody else. Thanks for making this great, and as well, thank you guys as always.
Well, thank you very much. Then that was Shalva Kviteshvili, the race winner, first time race winner in the iRacing Israel League, winner of round 2 of season 3 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So, Adam, I think we've got second place man Oren Sade in there as well.
Well, yeah, let's get him in for a quick word. Let's get him up on the graphics as well. Oh, no, there we go. Aaron, first of all, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Well done. It looked like it was going to be last man standing, I think, in that race today. There was crashes going on everywhere. What was it like trying to avoid it all and get second place?
Very stressful. Yeah, I started third, get a good qualifying out of the only lap we had for the qualifying, and did a couple of mistakes on the start. So Amir got past me, and then he did a mistake, so I passed him, and this was the situation for all of the race, and to trying to stay alive behind the back markers and to pass them safely. So it was a challenge.
Did it get to a point maybe around halfway through the race where you just decided, let's not race anybody, let's just make sure that I get to the finish line in one piece in the end?
Yeah, that was one of my thoughts, but I was only always wondering if someone gonna catch me from behind, because one small mistake and you lose big seconds on this circuit. And I saw that Chalva did one on the last lap. So if it wasn't a 25-second gap, maybe I could do something with that. But I'm happy with the place, the second place, my best result so far.
What do you think are the reasons why everybody seemed to struggle at this circuit? What are the main areas of the track where you think everybody seemed to come unstuck at?
Well, I think it's a big change from all of the circuits we had until now. Very stressed with all the walls, the Roval, and we had a huge grid. I think the biggest grid we had so far. So it was crowded, and that was the outcome.
And second place, one of your best results in the iRacing Israel League. That must make you pretty happy with the start to the season you've had so far.
Yeah, great result. I'm very happy. Still a big distance from the leader, so I have plenty of work ahead of me.
Great. Well, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Yeah, I want to have a shout out for Hagai Farhan, for great sim race center. We had a little celebration last week, and I want to wish him all the best with the new center and his way to making this sim race community more bigger and stronger with this amazing sports. So thank you guys.
Yeah, well, I'll second that. Yeah, well done today, Aaron, and all the best, and we'll speak to you again potentially in a couple of weeks' time.
Thanks.
And he was mentioning Haggai Farron there, Dane, and we were tracking his progress through the field after his contacts early on, and he managed to make it onto the podium. So I think we should get him in for an interview as well.
Absolutely. He started right at the back of the grid after not setting a time in qualifying, and he managed to work his way up into third position. Hi, Farron. Can you hear us, and welcome?
Hi guys, how are you?
We are doing not too bad. How about yourself finishing in third? I don't think anyone could have expected you to finish up there, starting right at the back.
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited about where we finished. What can I say? I hope I had a better start, but unfortunately I locked the rear wheels and I hit the rally, so apologies to him. But then I just had to give it my all and try to move forward. So happy with the result.
Absolutely. We're just seeing your start on the broadcast now. You did lock up the brakes. Yeah, that was a bit of an unfortunate incident. You could have maybe had a bit of a role to play in this second pileup. You managed to avoid all of that. I don't know if you know what happened there. It was a huge incident involving probably 10 cars just after turn number 2. So I think maybe your not too good start might have been a blessing in disguise. So you managed to pass all of the drivers who got involved in that. I think you might have been right in the middle of all of that if you hadn't. Well, P3 then, that's a very good result. You obviously had a win back at Sebring from last season. That was race number 2. But not too... You didn't have the best of seasons last season. It's good to see you back after missing round 1 2 weeks ago. It's good to see you back and back up on the podium.
Yeah, enjoying it. Unfortunately, I had to miss the first race due to family things, but now I'm committed and I can't wait for the next race.
So we just had an interview with Oren Sadi. He mentioned that you might have a new sim race center opening up sometime soon.
It's not a new center. It's actually because of COVID-19, we had to downscale a little bit, but then we want to take it to a more professional level. So we're going to downscale the amount of simulators. Currently we have 7. We're going down to 2. But it's going to be a brand new facility with many things for driving, for the drivers. You know, telemetry systems and everything to get the drivers to be more professional. So it's going to be a more professional, more exclusive center.
Well, that is great to hear. Congratulations on being able to continue running despite all of the stuff that's going on in the world at this time. Well, Haggai, thank you so much for joining us for an interview. 2 weeks' time, we head to Silverstone. Do you have much experience driving that?
Yeah, I love Silverstone. We raced in Silverstone last year as well. I really like the track. Hope to get into speed.
Absolutely. Well, last season we had the old historical layout. I think we have the new one for 2 weeks' time. So that's going to be a little bit of a slightly different challenge for all of the drivers. Well, good luck for that in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully, we'll see you back up on the podium and we'll be able to have a chat next week in 2 weeks' time. Thank you for joining us in the interview room. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Shout out to my father, which I love very much.
Well, that is very sweet. Thank you, Haggai, for joining us in the commentary box.
Cheers, guys.
Good to hear from Haggai Farron, obviously finishing in 3rd position. And Adam, we still got a couple more drivers waiting for an interview.
Yeah, let's move on, shall we? We've got about 10 minutes until we're due off the air, so let's carry on flying through them. Let's go on to Near Kopp, who finished just behind Haggai Farron. We saw the overtake there on the replay, so let's get him in for a quick word. And he joins us now in the commentary box. Near, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Yeah, welcome. I said during the broadcast that your livery matched your hoodie on the graphics, and it was a good race for you to get up into 8th place, and it wasn't without a bit of contact as well. It was a bit of an action-packed race for yourself.
Oh yeah, it was. First of all, I want to say sorry to everyone I hit, and that I caused them to hit me. But it was a really intense fight with Sherling, even though it was much slower. But it was fun.
That bus stop chicane in particular seemed to be an area where you had a little bit of difficulty. I think you had a bit of contact with, I think it was Michael Symon earlier, and then you almost spun again to hand the podium to Haggai Farron near the end.
Yeah, I spun many times on that chicane. It's really hard for me. I'm just too quick on the gas pedal. I think I need to slow down, be more collective.
Was that probably the most difficult part of the circuit for you and the rest of the field? The final chicane and turn 1 as well seemed to be main areas where we saw quite a lot of incidents going on.
I think the whole track was quite difficult for me. It felt really small for this car. I guess larger, more like Grand Prix tracks are much more suitable for it. But yeah, it was really hard, and I'm really glad I got 4th. I think it's my best score so far. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I was just going to echo that, saying that to get to 4th place despite all of what happened during the race, that must be probably a pretty good result for you.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to see the replays. There's probably tons of carnage around, so it's gonna be funny.
Yeah. I think we tried our best to catch all of it. Well, well done. Yeah, 8 places gained, and as you said, probably one of your best results in the series so far. So great for you to take away that, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you again in 2 weeks' time when the series heads to Silverstone.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was really fun.
Well then, that was near Cop, who finished in 4th position. We've got enough time for a couple more interviews, and we've got a couple more drivers. Let's see who we've got. We've got Michael Sherling and Yossi Gabai, I think. We will start off with Yossi. I believe he finished ahead. Where is Yossi Gabai? There he is, finished in 7th position. Let's get him in here. Let's move him up into the commentary box. And here he is, Yossi. Welcome to the commentary box. Can you hear us?
Yes, hi, how are you?
We are not too bad. How is yourself? Because you finished up in 7th position after a pretty chaotic race.
Yeah, it was a very strange race. All of the crashes in front of me. It took me a while. I had a pit accident at the beginning, and so it took me a while to get over this. And I was managing the race. It was a very tough race for me, but I'm happy with it.
Absolutely, a lot of drivers struggling with this circuit and this car combination. It's a very tricky circuit, the Charlotte Roval. Walls always there, ready to punish any of the slightest mistakes. And you did pretty well to finish the race with all the damage that you had. We're just seeing on the broadcast all of the damage on your car. Your car was really wrecked. We're good to have you back after you missed last 2 weeks ago at Le Mans in your bright green car. We do love a bit of the old Yossi Gavai green.
Yeah, I use the same green now with different skin, so.
Yeah, you've got the lovely iRacing Israel League logo on the side now as well, with a nice gradient pattern happening there. It's a really nice looking livery that you got going on. But really good result for yourself up in 7th. Have you done many official races in the last couple of weeks to try and prepare?
Yeah, I've done some, but actually all the races are a lot of crashes, so it took my I rating very low, so I stopped it for this. Yeah.
Surely not as low as mine.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but I'm having fun, yeah.
well, that's the main thing, having fun, of course. At the end of the day, that's why we're all here. And at
Yeah.
7th position for you. Good job on that. In a couple of weeks' time, we head to Silverstone. Now, we headed to Silverstone in the last season, the GT4s. That was obviously the historic layout, but this one is the new layout. Do you have much experience on the new one?
Yeah, I have an experience with it, but I hate it so much, and I don't like it. But I will try my best.
Silverstone is a bit of a love-hate circuit. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think it's a very challenging circuit to drive, especially in this car. I believe in 2 weeks' time Silverstone's on the officials, so maybe you can get some good practice on that.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, Yossi, thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, for Amir Meshulam and Hagai Faran and all the guys racing together, it's very fun, and let's keep going.
Absolutely. Well, we've got 33 drivers signed up now, so the league is growing. The community is growing quite a lot, so it's a very, very entertaining league for us to commentate on. And good to see that it's growing. We've got a 29 car grid this week.
Yeah, it's very packed, and we're having a lot of fun with it. It makes the race more difficult, but it's great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Yossi, and hopefully we'll speak again in 2 weeks' time.
Okay, thank you very much.
That was Yossi Gavai finishing in 7th position. And Adam, I think we've got one more driver left for an interview. No, we don't. He's left.
No. Poor Michael Sherling. Sorry, hopefully we'll get to speak to him next time out in 2 weeks' time at Silverstone.
Well, Adam, that was an action-packed race. If you can, then, what was your highlight of that one?
Well, we had it for a little bit. The battle between Shalva and Alonde at the front. It was just a shame that both of them weren't able to continue after that contact. Alonde's car was absolutely written off after that trip across the curbs and into the wall, and then Shalva from that point onwards was home and dry really. I was amazed at the difficulties that everybody had at the bus stop chicane. It was almost like every driver had a different issue going through there. Some were losing on the exit, some were losing on the entry, some were hitting the curbs and then spinning off after that. It was quite remarkable to see how each driver took it. But I'm sure that many of the drivers will be happy that we've seen the back of that now, and we can head back to the circuits that we are used to racing at in the iRacing Israel League, like Silverstone, that we're heading to next week. But yeah, a very interesting race to commentate on and to direct as well.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we're heading to Silverstone in 2 weeks' time. After that, Road Atlanta. We did Road Atlanta last season in the GT4s, and that provided us with some great racing for the lead of the race. Also, Brands Hatch. That's going to be interesting in these cars. Very narrow circuit, of course. And then Spa 2 weeks after that. So we've got some good circuits coming up in the next couple of months on the iRacing Israel League. That is it then for round number 2. 12 rounds in the season. 2 gone, 10 to go, and I'm really looking forward to the next 10 rounds. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time at Silverstone for the new Grand Prix layout. That's going to test the drivers a lot. It's a much longer circuit, much wider circuit than Charlotte Motor Speedway. Completely different challenge. It'll be good to see how they get on. That's going to be at the same time, 8 p.m. UK time, 7 p.m. GMT on Monday in 2 weeks' time. So join us for that one. And from Adam and I, everyone here at Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Israel League, we thank you for watching, and we wish you a good night and happy racing.